Mark Skaar on the Skaar Kaard on 103.7 The Fox. Proud to welcome in Johnny O'Neill. You know him from Dare Force. If you are familiar with music, rock and roll music in the Twin Cities, we're proud to have Johnny on. We've been spinning his new record, Truth or Dare. Johnny, welcome.
Well, thank you, Mark. Pleasure to be on the show.
And we were reminiscing right before we started that I'd mentioned to Johnny that I saw his band Dare Force play when I was a college student in Minneapolis at a place called Mr. Nibs, and we started talking about Mason City, where the radio station is based, and the Roxy and the Runway, and you're pretty sure you played both of those.
Indeed, yep. It's a few years back, but yep, I have some fond memories of those clubs in Mason City. Definitely good times.
So Johnny O'Neill, Truth or Dare, and you got on my radar for this particular release, Johnny, with the video Snake in the Grass. So let's start there. You did a video for it, and you've got your touring band in the video, and it's a nice performance piece.
Well, thank you. Well, kind of an interesting story. I lead a dual life. During the day, I'm a clinical psychologist in private practice, so I'll try and make this short. But I've been working as an independent contractor with this group practice, and the CEO of the practice, truth be told, she was the inspiration for the song. I left the practice a few years ago, and she wasn't the most pleasant individual to work with, so that was kind of the impetus for the lyrics and so forth, but they certainly could apply to any number of a cast of characters with whom we're all familiar. So that's the idea for the lyrics. The riff, it's something that I've had in my head. It was a newer tune, something I just been noodling around with for the last couple of years or so, and when it came time to start recording the record, I thought it'd be a nice way to open the album. I wanted to have something that really kind of grabbed you by the throat right off the bat, and I thought that was the perfect tune to open the album with. So. And
the second single is Coming For You, which is track number 2 on the record.
Yes, that's kind of your basic, good old red-blooded hard rock, kind of talking about natural instincts that most American males have. Of course, in the video for that, which we have released recently, we did kind of a twist on it. I have a Gibson Flying V that I've played for decades, and so we kind of used that guitar as a metaphor for a woman, and had my son, Rory, who's 17, played a much younger version of me in the video, and shows him, going by a guitar store and seeing the guitar, the V in the window, and going in and strumming it a bit and playing it, and the next thing you know, you see me banging out with the boys in a warehouse with it strapped around my neck, rocking out at a rehearsal. So we're having a lot of fun with that one, too.
Talking with Johnny O'Neill about the new record, Truth or Dare, I think I told you online, Johnny, my favorite song is Temple.
Well, thank you. That one is really special to me. It's certainly a sonically different song from the rest of the record, and that's one thing I wanted to do, was kind of take the listener on a sonic journey, if you will, kind of, through some different dynamics and instrumentation and different moods and so forth. And so that one is definitely a bit of a departure from some of the other, more straightforward rockers on it. One of the really cool things about the track is that it features Danny Payronell on keyboards, and Danny happens to be the original keyboardist for UFO. You can hear his stellar playing on their No Heavy Petting album. So he's on that track and a couple of other tracks on the record, but really lent a nice dynamic to that tune with that. And then also my co-producer and actually the co-founder of Dare Force, Brian Bart, worked up a really nice string arrangement on the tune as well. It's definitely a different feel, different type of tune from the others on the record, but yeah, it's definitely one of my favorites too, I have to say.
Mm-hmm. And you decided to cover Revolution for this record.
Yeah, the reason that we're talking today, just like millions of other musicians, would have to be the Fab Four. I've been under their spell since I saw them. I'm dating myself now, but I saw them on the Ed Sullivan Show when I was a kid. From that minute, I was hooked. I knew I wanted to be a musician. I was just completely mesmerized and thought, I want to learn to do what they're doing, and just pestered my parents for the next couple of years to buy me a guitar. I started playing when I was 8 years old and grew up listening to Beatles records, and So when it came time to record the record, I had the idea of doing a cover track, and I didn't have a specific song in mind, and had the radio on. I think I had it on to a satellite radio station, and the track came on, and I remember thinking, what a killer song it is, and also in the context of the times that we've been living through the past few years, and especially this past year, it just seemed to be an appropriate song, and certainly was a way of me paying homage to my heroes. So what we did with it was kind of fun. There are two versions of the song. The one that you hear on the radio, the rocking version, is not on any album, actually. The album track is on the White Album, and it's more of a laid-back, kind of acoustic type of version. So Brian and I, in the studio, we decided to try and do kind of a mashup of the two different versions. So the beginning of it starts off, kind of, more laid back with acoustic guitar and stuff, and then we kick it into gear, and that also happens to be another track that features Danny on keys on it, and he had some really nice honky-tonk riffs to the latter part of the tune, so we had a lot of fun doing it. Took a little time to work out the chord progression. It's deceptively simple, as many Beatles songs are, but once you start digging into it, you realize just the genius of their songwriting. But yeah, that was really fun to play. I really enjoyed that one.
Talking to Johnny O'Neill about Truth or Dare. Johnny, who's in the band with you?
When I recorded the album, I didn't have a band in place. I had all the vocal tracks and the rhythm guitar tracks in the can, and knew that I wanted to have a band to play out live, once we got past this damn pandemic we've all been living through. Well, anyway, I did need a drummer, though. I had thought that, maybe at first, I'd give that a stab and actually play virtually everything, but I know my limitations on a drum kit. So there was a fellow here in town that I'd heard play, and kind of had him in the back of my mind, Joaquin Becker, Joe Becker, and so I called him and asked him if he wanted to play on the record. So he's the drummer on the record, and then he's in my band, and so from then we have a second guitarist, John Funk, who's another veteran of the Twin Cities music scene. He's been in a number of bands, most recently kind of a hard punk band called the Good Bars, and John also shares a love of UFO and plays a flying V, and just a super great guy. And so I contacted him, sent him the tracks, and asked him if he'd be interested in jumping aboard, and got a quick response in the affirmative from him, and that left just one slot left, a bass player, and we were kind of putting our heads together thinking of who would be the perfect fit, since we had such a good chemistry with the three of us already. And so we were talking about some people that we know over the years, and Benny Craig, our bassist, his name came up. Benny played in a band back around the same time that Dare Force was active, a band called Paradox, and then Benny went on to play in a band called Bone Club. They actually had a label deal. I forget the label they were on, but they toured Europe, and he's done all kinds of different things. More recently, believe it or not, he had his own rockabilly band called stock car named Desire. So he was playing an upright bass for a while, but again, just a great person, just awesome musician. And so we called him and said, would you care to quote-unquote audition for the band, knowing full well that it was going to work. And so he came over for a rehearsal, and you want to jump aboard, and it was just one rehearsal with him, and we had the puzzle was complete. So we're just chomping at the bit to get out and play, and we're looking at getting some dates booked here later in the summer to get back out and play live. So really excited about that.
I love this, Johnny, because it gives us older guys some hope that we still can have some rock left in the tank.
Oh, absolutely. If you're infected, as I have been throughout my life, if you're addicted, you have no choice. And I intend to do this. I mean, one of my inspirations is Sir Mick Jagger. I've seen the Stones numerous times, most recently in 2015 here at the TCF Bank Stadium where the Gophers played football. I saw him outdoors, and he was, 73, 75 at the time, and just put on this stellar performance. They played almost 2.5 hours straight, and he was just a force of nature. And I thought, man, if that guy can do what he's doing, he's certainly got a few years on me. I think I've got some gas left in the tank too. And it's something I have to do. It's therapy for me, and it just is such a part of my soul that I anticipate doing this as long as I'm physically able and having fun, and certainly having fun. So I feel really lucky to be able to be doing what I'm doing.
Johnny, if people want to find the record or get in touch, how can they go about doing that?
Probably the quickest way, we're online at all the usual downloading services. My website, johnnyoneil.com, that's JOHNNYONEIL.com. And if you go to the website, there are links that you can find to download the record. We're on Amazon, Apple, Spotify, all the usual sources there. And then for actual physical copies of the CD, I've got a site on Bandcamp.com, and there's a link for that on my website as well, where you can actually order a physical copy of the CD. And then we're actually, believe it or not, we're pressing some vinyl. I'm about to get a shipment of vinyl here within the next few weeks, and we'll have that online. And there's a number of stores here in the Twin Cities area, but for listeners, of course, in Iowa and elsewhere, they could order that. We'll probably have that on Bandcamp as well. So, but the website, and then you can find out more about what's going on too. I've got a Facebook page under Johnny O'Neill Official, but the website's probably the most efficient way to find the record.
Johnny, it's a pleasure having you on. It's nice to meet you, and we're loving the record, and we'll keep spinning it.
Well, Mark, thank you so much. Once again, I just really appreciate the support, and I'll have to get back down to Mason City with the boys and play a show. We'd love to get back to town and rock out for you guys. Thank you so much for having me on the show. It's been great.
Our pleasure. For Johnny O'Neill, I'm Mark Skaar on the Skaar Card on 103.7 The Fox.